I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but just have you ever heard of a vaccine chewing gum for any vaccine like in the past?
No,
weird, man. So weird. Oh man, what the heck is going on, Eric?
Hopefully there are people that are against, masticating bubble gum or chewing gum, like anti-masticators.
Don't take this chewing gum.
Yeah.
They can't really call it the jab at that point. I mean, because you're not getting jabbed. Don't take the chew. That's that's going to be the new slogan. Don't take the chew. Welcome to the Accelerativ Thrust podcast. I'm Dan.
Oh, and I'm Eric. Yep.
And today we're going to be talking about stuff, namely 3 records, including some. We actually have a local release this week, Eric.
Yeah, nice.
Oh man, that makes me want to get up and dance and just do like some sort of, I don't know what are those dance? The do-si-do makes me want to do the do-si. Have you done the do-si-do? How long has it been since you've done the do-si-do?
Not as long as one might think. Yeah, I had to do it in a children's music class not that long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Was it effective?
Was my do-si-do effective?
Yeah. I mean,
it was so-si-do.
Sure. So-si-do. I just sometimes dances are really ineffective, like whenever I dance, I would say that my dances are ineffective.
No. Wow. Huh.
Like people don't generally like if you're trying to get people to like either be like, wow, that guy knows how to dance, or be like, wow, I'm going to go talk to that guy, then it's an ineffective. The minute they see me dance, they're going the other way and they're saying, wow, that guy does not know how to dance.
Wow.
Well, yeah. I do not know how to dance. I am not afraid to admit it to the world today. Because the world listens to this podcast.
The dancing world does.
The dancing world, yes, yeah. All of them. You do not be surprised when you don't see me dancing.
I love to dance. Like I'm not good at it. I mean, I can't learn a move or whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty fun. Like if it's just a bunch of if it's a bunch of friends or something, or like nobody can see me, like one of those really sketchy.
So you dance like no one's watching.
Exactly. Or like one of those sketchy raves or something, like
I love a sketchy rave. Good old
man.
Sketchy rave.
I mean, the goal is to not be intrigued by like laser light shows and techno music. The goal is to make sure no one can see me dancing. And that's why I go to raves. I don't know about you. Sketchy raves.
I mostly go for the ecstasy.
The ecstasy.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
That is there's
just being real.
That's a whole podcast. We could just talk about ecstasy for an entire episode.
Yeah.
You want to do an ecstasy episode, Eric?
No.
Okay.
No, I've never actually done ecstasy. I don't know.
Yeah, neither have I.
Oh, well, maybe we should do an episode then.
Exactly.
Make it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, then my eyes started bleeding, like, like how it does on ecstasy. My fingernails fell off.
So before we get into all of the record reviews and stuff, I just want to remind everybody that we are available to listen to on Transistor, Content Made Right, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and YouTube. And you can contact us on the official Facebook and Instagram pages. You also follow us. That's how I have it written down, Eric. You also follow us on the pages.
It's like the power of suggestion. We're actually hypnotizing you right now.
That's the sound I make when I hypnotize people.
How was it again? Yeah, that's what I did too.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to actually go. I can't make that sound though.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's it. When you're hypnotizing dwarves, seven at a time. Or Metallica. For some reason, they decided they could use the Seven Dwarfs song in a song, and literally no one in the world cared but me.
Wait, what song was that?
It's on And Justice for All. It starts with
oh yes, that's right. That's right. Totally forgot about that one. Yeah.
Anyway, I guess Snow White's cool.
Yeah, Snow White is pretty cool. And Jason Newsted was a pretty good bassist. You just weren't able to hear him on that record, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, if you're not in Metallica, but you're in a band from the Iowa, Illinois region and want us to talk about you, or talk to you, or if you're not in a band and want us to recommend something want to recommend something for review to us, local or otherwise, or recommend a guest to interview, we want to try and keep the aspect local when we're interviewing bands. And of course, we also want to keep reviewing music from local bands. So shoot us a message or leave us a comment. That's the point that I was getting at. Why did it take? It was very difficult to get to that. Anyway, I also wrote that you can harass us about it, but I don't know. Now that I think about it, I don't really want you guys to harass us.
I mean, they can harass us, but they need to know we're very sensitive.
Very sensitive. Yes, we will react.
Like literally just thinking about someone being mean to me right now makes me, I'm just about to start crying. I can't do it. I need everyone to be very nice to me and like me very much. And that's the truth.
What did Michael Scott say on that episode of The Office? It was like, I don't need to be adored. I don't need to be boss, or I could be getting this wrong, but it's close to this. But then he said something like, I just need to be loved.
Yeah.
So something like that. I don't know. I have a feeling. I have a feeling that I screwed it up.
That's okay.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Speaking of screw ups, Kanye West's college dropout bear. See what I did there? Dropout, screw up.
Yeah.
It went up for sale for $1 million.
Wow.
$1 million. Your chance to own, this is what it says. Your chance to own the iconic costume. Okay, it says used and used on tour. Obviously a typo. At award shows, promo visuals, and more if you've got deep pockets. So, yeah.
How deep are the pockets in the bear costume? That's my question.
Wow, that's a really good question.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the most important question. Actually, what I'm thinking is you could get this suit for $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Make a furry porn with it.
Mm-hmm.
And probably triple your money. That's what I'm thinking.
I think somebody's going to probably end up doing something crazy with the college dropout bear. If they actually
if you listeners would like to come up with the title of that furry porn movie, go ahead and send that to us and we'll pick the best one.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone wants to loan me $1 million to buy the Kanye West college dropout bear, well, don't loan it to me. Just give it to me.
Well, yeah. I don't know. If you have $1 million to give us to buy that, you should keep it because we are acting very irresponsibly with your money.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. But we are going to buy that college dropout bear eventually. Once we buy other stuff that we'll
wait like 30, 40 years. It'll be like those super messed up Billy Bobs from Showbiz Pizza.
Right. The Billy Bobs. Wow.
Yeah.
Forgot about the Billy Bobs.
Yeah, I think, what are they called?
Is that what they were called?
No, they're called, oh, crumbs. Hold on. I know it in my head. Rock of Fire Explosion.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking about the whole band.
Yeah. I think we can wait till they're all gross and messed up. We can wait till that bear is like that, and then we can buy it.
I think I've owned that record, that Rockafire Explosion first album. Yeah. I've owned that several times because there for a little while I was finding it at every thrift store.
Is it
first album?
Yeah, I mean,
you know, it's one of those. Yeah, it's called the Rockafire Explosion, our first album. I believe I still have it somewhere in there. But it, I mean, you know, it's exactly what you'd expect. It's, you know what I mean? It's I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a animatronic
super
band.
Sick ass songs about pizza.
Yeah, super sick ass songs about pizza. That's exactly what it is. There was also that tape that the Ninja Turtles did coming out of their shells. They're coming out of our shells. And that had a song called Pizza Power on it. That was really good. Used to get that tape at Pizza Hut. Pizza Power, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So we were talking about ecstasy earlier, but there's something that we haven't discussed on this show yet, and that is smoking toad venom. So Mike Tyson, ladies, and we haven't really talked about Mike Tyson either. So
wait, are you talking about when you smoke toad venom, or is the name of the animal the smoking toad?
Well,
we're talking about the venom.
Either one of those scenarios are great.
Smoking toad venom.
Smoking toad venom. Oh man, that sounds like a Jesus Lizard song right there. Speaking of animals like
Jesus
toads, Jesus Toad. Excuse me. So Mike Tyson opened up about his experience taking psychedelics while speaking to the New York Post at Miami's Wonderland, a conference dedicated to psychedelics, microdosing, and medicine. Tyson revealed that after smoking toad venom, he's no longer afraid of dying. While speaking about smoking the venom from the Sonoran desert toad, Tyson says he died. He stated, "I died during my first trip." After revealing that he smoked toad venom 53 times, Tyson added, "In my trips, I've seen that death is beautiful. Life and death both have to be beautiful, but death has a bad rep. The toad has taught me that I'm not going to be here forever. There's an expiration date." So, yeah, Mike Tyson is no longer afraid, guys.
Yeah. So when he's laying in his casket with a big smile on his face, he can say, "I told you so."
I told you so. Yes. All right. So the record that I chose for this week is an album called Glow On from this band called Turnstile. Now, I've actually been listening to a lot of Turnstile lately. I just discovered them literally like a month ago, and I've been hearing their name being thrown around in reviews and things like that. And I think I even might have watched like a video of theirs like a couple of years back or whatever. But basically, Turnstile started out as a hardcore band that sounded a lot to me like something like Snapcase or something along those lines. Judge, any number of like 90s hardcore band that you could really think of. That's really what they sounded like when they first started. Like, I believe it was their first 7-inch EP that they put out. But since then, they've really done a lot of different stuff. And this is their third record. Came out, I think, in 2020. And it's definitely more than just a hardcore record. Like, there are times where I don't even really know exactly what's going on, but it's a very intriguing listen. I think at the heart of it, you could say it's a post-hardcore album, but there's a lot of different things, everything from like guitar solos to like crazy rhythmic percussion, almost like jungle rhythms. There's even some like twang guitar and rhythmic breakdowns that almost are like jazz fusion influenced or something. There's a little bit of vaporwave, some hip hop influences, new wave, electronic music, and there's also synths and pianos. thrown in. There's a lot going on, but at the end of the day, the songs most of the time end up being pretty much like post-hardcore. Again, I do hear some Snapcase type stuff going on, but I hear influences from everything from the Bad Brains to Fugazi to even like something like Duran Duran, Jane's Addiction. In fact, the singer almost reminds me of like a hardcore version of Perry Farrell at times, but also like I can hear like Quicksand and Far and things like that. But then there's like a song like Underwater Boy, which has a lot of reverb and does sound like a Duran Duran song to me. Mm-hmm. And then there's a couple of songs featuring Blood Orange. One of them in particular, called Alien Love Call, is pretty much a twangy reverb soaked song that, you know, for lack of a better way to really describe it, that kind of has that Twin Peaks thing going on, mm-hmm. like that we talk about a lot on this show, Eric. Mm-hmm. And it's a really exciting record to me. It really does put me in mind of, again, listening to like Far and Quicksand. There isn't really a lot of screaming that goes on. It's a pretty unique record. Yeah, at times I just really have no explanation for where it's going. And a lot of, like, when I say that it has elements of all these things, most of the time those elements are very short-lived. Like, mm-hmm. it's to the point where they're just like spontaneous. Like, the beginning of the record starts off with like almost like a vaporwave intro, mm-hmm. or something along those lines. And then it goes into just a complete post-hardcore song. And it kind of stays that way for a little bit until like they just kind of decide to throw in like, I don't know, like a 20-second part that just throws all these like curveballs at you. And that's kind of how the record is for the most part. It sounds like it's just going to kind of be this straight up hardcore record. And then next thing you know, all of a sudden there's a twangy guitar or a synthesizer that comes in, or like the singer, or maybe it's not even, maybe there's more than one vocalist will kind of do something weird and different with his vocals, but it'll only last for like 15 or 20 seconds. But then they have songs that are just like straight up, like that song that I mentioned, Underwater Boy, could also fit in on any Cure, like early Cure record as well. And so, yeah, I think that this is just a really interesting take on hardcore. I mean, I don't know if I would even call this record a hardcore record. The only reason why I would say that is because I know that they are a hardcore band, but they're definitely just wearing a lot of different influences on their sleeves here. And I really, really enjoy it. I think it's a really exciting record to listen to. And I've been coming back to it quite a bit. What did you think, Eric?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I've never listened to Turnstile. Unfortunately, I don't have that much experience with this kind of music. Like, I really don't. I'm getting more because of the mm-hmm. show. But yeah, I only have a few things to compare it to. And honestly, Far and Quicksand were the ones that I also was familiar with. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's super diverse. The instrumentation's really diverse, and the musical elements, but also the musical ideas. Like, they'll be going along and it's basically just some kind of post-hardcore thing. And then all of a sudden it'll be like a straight up salsa with piano, you know? And even during the hardcore parts, they'll still have like a old drum machine tom sound, mm-hmm. you know? So there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of crazy vocal effects, like pitch shifted vocal effects. If I had to guess, I would say this is one singer, but they use processing to create a lot of different harmonies and weird things like that. So you'll have parts where the singer is singing along with, you know, an adjacent part that is pitch shifted up, and then another one that's pitch shifted down. And, you know, it sounds really strange. A lot of synthesizers, a lot of synth through the whole thing. A lot of twangy guitar. The only thing I really didn't care for was the guitar seems a little swarmy at times. Like it goes like half steps. It goes a little like out of key, and it's a little, I don't know how to describe it. It's just not a sound I really care for when things do that.
Sure.
And the only word I have is swarmy, unfortunately. But the guitar tones themselves are awesome. All of the playing is pretty amazing through and through. Overall, I just felt it was super interesting and exciting. But even more than that, it was like actually kind of fun and upbeat. Like there's a lot of major chord progressions in this, which seem out of place, but it because of the way it's constructed, where it's almost like parts put together, it works because we're going to deviate from what's happening anyway. So if it goes to a major key, then whatever. I mean, it just is the way it is. But yeah, overall, super fun. It reminded me, this is going to sound really weird, but it reminded me of the first time I heard White Pony
by
the Deftones. Yeah, like it was something, it was a completely new take on something that I thought I understood. And and not as far as other things. Like it was still keeping it within some boundaries. I mean, this isn't like the Locust or like an Albatross. This is good music. And I mean, not that those things aren't good, but they're definitely relying on their weirdness,
right?
And that's not what's happening here. I think this is just trying to be interesting. Overall, the construction, the way it's put together, and the attitude really reminded me of The Shape of Punk to Come by the Refused.
That too. Yep.
And so I would say if you gave that Refused record a chance and ended up really liking it, I think you would be standing on the precipice of that same situation here. And so I think you should check it out. I thought it was really good. I've listened to it more than a couple times, and I think I'll come back to it. So
and the other thing about it too that I really like real quick is that I forgot to mention is I like the fact that if this is your introduction to this band, you would never guess. I don't know if you I'm assuming you probably didn't go back and listen to any of their earlier stuff, right?
No, this is all I've heard still.
You would not assume if you're not familiar with their early stuff and you go back and you listen to their early stuff, you would not believe it's the same band.
Really?
And that's what I really, really like about it is, and I almost feel that sort of with Refused, with Shape of Punk to Come also, just because the earlier Refused stuff compared to Shape of Punk to Come was just so straightforward.
Right.
And that's kind of like, I think Turnstile got a little weirder earlier than the Refused did, but like their first EP is just straight up hardcore. Like sounds like it would have been on Victory Records in the 90s or something.
Wow.
So yeah,
good stuff. I enjoyed it. I even told some other people about it in my real life, which I don't really consider the podcast my real life. Apparently. I mean, outside of the podcast, I told some people.
Right.
Which I don't really do all that often now that we have this podcast. I don't really go around saying, hey, you should listen to this, because I don't know. I think that Lingua Ignota was the last thing I went around telling everyone I knew to listen to, which there's a new one. So I'm going to have to get to that on the show sometime.
And I totally understand why you would do that with that record.
Yeah. Good stuff. So I guess I'll go ahead with my choice. I'm going to present this like a Reading Rainbow kind of review. Have you ever thought what would happen if you mix the Muffs and Tad? I think you would think the answer is Hole, but it's not. It's 24/7 Diva heaven.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know where I found this. I liked the cover. It looked delicious. So yeah, it looks like there's some Yopo noodles on the front. Maybe there's at least a big piece of bok choy. It's pink. Yes. None of this matters. Except to say this episode is brought to you by Jianghu Asian Street Food in Iowa City. That's also,
there you go.
That's also not true, but you should go there.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds great.
It's the best place. We, just to be clear, we're not sponsored by anyone, but I figure if I start saying places, maybe they'll end up sponsoring us.
Sure. Yeah.
So pick up some hot garlicky noodles and go get some records from the record collector. Who else do we want to be sponsored by?
Let's see. Automotive auto parts. If you need any sort of air filter. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Whatever store there is.
I like it.
Automotive auto parts stores. I don't know.
Anyway, oh my God, this is so dumb. I'm gonna edit all this out. Okay.
I mean, should you?
Yeah,
or
probably.
should you just keep it? Okay.
So yeah, 24/7 Diva Heaven. The record is called Stress. And it came out this year. It's a Berlin trio, which was surprising to me because it sounds ultra American to me. This is their first LP. They had an EP before this. But like I said, the vocals are very much like Kim Shattuck from the Muffs. I don't think it's a direct sort of like copy, but definitely a huge influence. And the Tad element is more just like, this is grungy. This is like grunge worship. And sort of the heavier side of that, which made me kind of think of Tad. Sometimes it sounds like pop punk. Sometimes it sounds like more like just straight grunge. Sometimes it's heavier, like almost like Black Mountain. There's elements of Hole, Sonic Youth. I don't know. I would say that if you like any of the stuff I just mentioned, you're probably going to like this. It's right there. The thing about it is I would personally call this neo Riot Grrrl or neo grunge. I don't know, because it is new and it obviously is taking from those things. You know, it's kind of like Municipal Waste or something, you know, like neo thrash. It is what it is, but it's completely rooted in this other thing that already existed. You know, it's grunge worship is what this is, but it's super fun and super good. And again, sort of like Municipal Waste, they have the entirety of that genre and the history of it at their disposal to take the best parts and shed the parts that aren't good. And that's exactly what you have here. So I don't know. There's not a lot more I can say about it. It's just like really good. If you like the Muffs, if you like Hole, Sonic Youth, heavier stuff in that era or in that vein, especially like the Toadies, a lot of breaks, a lot of intros, the guitar work, very much like the Toadies. It does go a lot of places musically, but at the end of the day, I think it's connected by the vocals and the attitude and just sort of the atmosphere that they've created within it. It's kind of the connective tissue. So what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I love this. I'm a huge fan of this kind of music. Like you were saying, I think neo Riot Grrrl or Neato Riot Grrrl music, yeah. Either one works. I really like this kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of L7, Babes in Toyland in particular. I love Kat. I can't pronounce her last name, but from that band. And forgive me, but I actually don't know any of the members of 24/7 Diva Heaven, but the singer is awesome. Like, she has this crazy gravelly voice that sounds like she smokes cigarettes. Not bad cigarettes, good cigarettes, because it's cigarettes that totally it enhances the vocals. And maybe she doesn't smoke cigarettes. That's totally irrelevant, but it sounds, what I'm getting at is it sounds badass. It's just like really good stuff. And yeah, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. So yeah, all the bands you mentioned, Toadies, I definitely hear a lot of the riffs, Tad and the Melvins, both
for sure.
Nirvana is all over this thing, I think. I would say Boss Hog, Pixies, but there's one band in particular that it reminded me a lot of. And the voice, now that you mention it, I hear the Kim Shattuck from the Muffs quite a bit. And in fact, there are songs that almost remind me of like the Muffs, or like if Weezer went metal or something. But there's one band in particular whose this reminded me a lot of, and whose singer reminded me of this singer a lot of, and that is 7 Year Bitch.
Okay.
And the singer of that band, Celine Vigil. Like they've always been one of my favorites in that entire genre. This reminds me a lot of that too. And that is awesome. I kind of hear a little bit of Jawbreaker, and actually, I mean, the Muffs comparison, I mean, like the Muffs and Jawbreaker, I think I could see comparisons there as well. So, but there's so much going on that but like you said, even though there's a lot going on, it's all confined in this like wonderful exploration of like, I don't really want to say 90s, but that's basically what it is. 90s noisy grunge punk. Yeah. I mean, and it's the better side of all that stuff.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's a lot going on. I think it's badass. It's a really good rock, punky, grungy, noisy rock record. I'm at a loss for kind of what else to say as well, Eric. Yeah. There's not really much more I can say about it.
It's one of those things, and we've run into that on this show before, where it's like something just 100% absolutely nails what it's trying to accomplish. It's super good. If you if you want to hear something new that sounds like 90s Riot Girl grunge, then you should listen to this record. Like, absolutely, there's nothing else to say. So,
and it's really good. And just like all genres, there's some that do that and don't do it so well, and there's some that do it and do it very well. And this is like high tier.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, I would love to see this band live, because I bet they're a blast.
I think so. Yeah. And with a name like 24/7 Diva Heaven, I don't know.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty bold.
And it's funny too, because when I went into this album, because of that name, I didn't know what to expect. Like I was wondering if it was going to be like, I don't know. I was wondering if it was going to be like, if it was going to sound like Britney Spears. Or something.
I had no idea either. And which, I guess, they say don't judge a book by its cover or whatever, but I think you should totally judge a record by their cover. Like, if it has a shitty cover, the people making the music have bad taste, or they're not willing to stand up to a label or an artist or a friend and say, no, that art sucks, we're going to go with something else. Either way, I don't know if I trust the music on the record. So
no, man, that's a tough one, Eric, because I've been deceived before.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, there are some great albums that have bad covers.
Yeah. There's some, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some that have a legit bad cover, like not ironic or purposeful,
right? But
like actually terrible.
Okay,
we might have to come back to that one.
Yeah, we may have to, because I kind of see what you're saying. There's a difference between just really bad and being like almost like unself-aware of it,
right?
Versus like, okay, this just really isn't that great of a cover.
Like, have you ever seen the Suicidal Tendencies record called Freedom?
Yeah,
DUMB. That's terrible. I've never even listened to it. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm not going to listen to this. It's crap. Or what was that? Was it Black Flag? That record with the green. Oh crap.
Oh, Live 84.
No, let's see. What the hell was it called? I think it was Black Flag. Just a second.
Oh, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah, what the? Yeah. That was like, that wasn't Black Flag, dude. That was, I mean, it said Black Flag on it. That was, Greg Ginn was like, he was on some sort of power trip or something, and he bought the rights to Black Flag. That's why, like, I think Keith Morris and all those guys, they toured as Flag,
right?
Because they couldn't be Black Flag. And so he assembled this band of, like, I don't know, other people that I don't think had, I don't know who was all on that.
Believe it or not, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
The Black Flag record?
We're going to talk about the Greg Ginn Black Flag a little bit.
Oh, I think I know why.
But anyway, the record cover, that might be one of the worst I've ever seen.
It's a very
life.
bad cover. Or like Iron Maiden's Dance of Death.
Oh,
that is the worst.
Yeah, I wouldn't even listen to it.
No. And that does have a couple of decent songs on it, but it's a terrible record, terrible album cover.
Anyway.
And a terrible record as well. 24/7 Diva Heaven.
They have a terrific cover.
I have a message for you. Your album cover is awesome.
So. Yeah. Yeah. So should we talk about our local review?
We should talk about our local review.
I would say that the cover for this one actually kind of falls right between those two descriptions we just talked about.
Good and bad.
Yeah. The record is called All Turd State by the Chocolate Hogboys. The cover is the state of Iowa made out of poop, with an arm flipping off the world and boogers coming out of its nose. And maybe he's picking his nose with a different hand and he has a hit of acid. This is the drug episode, apparently. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So
yeah, totally. I'm sure you're going to be hungry after doing all of them.
The Chocolate Hogboys. Okay. Let's talk about the Chocolate Hogboys. Full disclosure, I played live at a weekly show with a group of people who went by the name the Chocolate Hogboys. And that was a rotating group of people. And I knew the people that I played with, but that in no way means that I know who played on this record. And I can tell you that I didn't play on this record. I don't want to sound disingenuous when I'm talking about this record, but I literally don't know who played on this, even though I have played music with people that went under this name. So I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. But yeah, they have a lot of music. Some of it is, like this record, it was a pretty accessible length, maybe about 40 minutes or whatever. They have other ones like the Pennaissance, which is a great record, but I think it's about 8 hours long, which is, great. It also has a close-up of the statue of David's penis for the record cover. The Chocolate Hogboys are pretty funny as far as the subject matters of the songs, the titles of the songs, the titles of the record, the artwork, the presentation. All of this is all pretty funny stuff. They have a tape called Butt Munchin, Plague of Asses, Rectal Baboon, just a lot of really fun stuff. In execution, though, this is actually pretty amazing stuff. It's very loose to the point that I think that it might be improvisational the whole time, but I don't know that for sure. Like I said, I'm not sure how this record or any other recordings are conceived or made or how the production works or whatever. I'm not sure if one person plays one thing and then, other people listen to it and play along, if they record it live together. I'm not exactly sure how it's made, but how it comes across is, just very, very loose, but tight and noisy, but not noise. Like everything is very rooted in some sort of rhythmic structure. I feel like it hardly ever is just a bunch of nonsense, even though sometimes it might seem that way. I really like this recording, and in my opinion, this is the most accessible one that I've heard so far. It reminded me a lot of Can, Hawkwind, a lot of krautrock stuff like that. But also, it's kind of funny. So there's like a Ween element to it, especially with some of the vocal processing. There's definitely a Grateful Dead element to the whole thing, the way things move. how they interact. There's even a little bit of that acid rock jamminess to the whole thing too. I think it doesn't sound particularly modern to me. And then a lot of Captain Beefheart for sure. Lots of Captain Beefheart influence in here, I think. Because there is a blues feel to it, a rock and roll feel to it, but it's sort of dismantling or disassembling of rock and roll and blues, and then put together sort of all wrong. And I think what I liked about this record the most, and about what the Chocolate Hogboys do, is they're trying to throw us off here with all this goofiness, right? I think that they're trying to make us think of them as novel, when in reality, this is pretty high class musicianship, really cool function and movement, and really just well-informed sort of avant-garde rock music and or rock and roll. And for me, it was a super fun listen. Like I said, you can't really dig your claws into anything because everything's constantly moving, but at its core, it is rooted in rhythm. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So what'd you think, Dan?
Yeah, this was great. I mean, I've played in improv bands, and I'm a huge fan of like things like noise rock and I guess experimental music with chaos or whatever. But like you were saying, there's clearly more than that going on here. The music is being played by, well, I already know that it's definitely being played by musicians that know what they're doing. You can really tell. And like you were saying, it's like deconstructed structure. That would be how I would describe it. It's definitely not your conventional means of, like structuring a song. I think how you described it, how they're trying to throw us off is perfect, because there are, other than Captain Beefheart, who I totally agree with, there's two bands that that come to mind that I would say I think of, like I thought of instantly when I started listening to this. The first one is Mothers of Invention, Frank Zappa. That I think is like the epitome of like a group of musicians that were trying to throw people off, the way that you described it, Eric, where it almost sounds like it's just like a novelty thing, but really beneath the surface, there's a lot being said. Not even just through the musicianship, but I mean, clearly, like there's just a lot of like really strange sounds that I really dig, like a lot of horns, a lot of vocal effects, to the point where you can't even really hear what's being sung or said. Or I think there's some synths and keyboards definitely going on here, drums and bass. The other band that this really reminded me of, and this would be like, in my opinion, straight up, like when I think of, if I was going to compare this to something, and I was going to say, hey, you need to listen to the Chocolate Hogboys, they sound a lot like this. I think the Butthole Surfers are all over this.
Sure. Yeah.
Like the Butthole Surfers are another group that is very deceivingly strange and deceivingly novel, when they're really not novel that much at all. Because even their earlier albums, I heard a lot of Locust Abortion Technician and Psychic Powerless in this, in the structure. There's also a lot of great songwriting and musicianship going on in the Butthole Surfers. Even, and I've always said this to people, even in the early days, even on those like really noisy records where it seemed like there was no structure whatsoever, it was awesome musicianship where they were actually like, they were paying like homage to like blues artists and things like that. And I hear a lot of that kind of going on here. It sounds like obnoxious blues on the surface, but at the end of the day, it's done really, really well, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I would say that if I was going to say, hey, you need to listen to the Chocolate Hogboys, or at least this album, because I haven't heard anything else from the Chocolate Hogboys. I've known about them. I've just never gotten around to checking them out. But if I were to say, you need to hear this album, Altered State by the Chocolate Hogboys, the Butthole Surfers would be the first frame of reference that I would use.
I get that. Yeah.
So
nice.
Absolutely good stuff. It was a great listen. I mean,
it really is a lot of fun.
I love this kind of stuff. I love playing it and I love listening to it.
Yeah.
So
me too.
Great stuff.
The local show section this week is, I mean, there's nothing going on. It's Thanksgiving, guys. Yeah, right. I mean, no one's going to be doing anything, right? The only things I got is Friday the 26th, tomorrow. Mike Vallely and the Complete Disaster are going to be playing at the Gas Lamp in Des Moines. Now, Mike Vallely did sing for Black Flag, and this is a Black Flag set. So there you go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He also sang for a group with Greg Ginn called Good For You back in the day. I don't know how that all came together, but this appears to be Mike Vallely and the Complete Disaster doing a complete Black Flag show. So if that's interesting to you, that's happening the 26th. The only other thing, and I don't know a single thing about this, is on Saturday, the 27th at Gabe's Oasis. They're calling it Friendsgiving. Nix Bell Price, Tommy Guns, and Kill OG. I don't know what this is, except Nix Bell Price, I looked it up, as an Iowa City producer. And so I would assume this is a hip hop show. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Look into it, because honestly, there's really nothing else happening this week. So that's all I got. And that, I mean, that I'm sure those will be good shows, but you know, we really won't pick up again till the week after this, because you know, then everyone's going to be out at the brew, you know, having a class reunion of sorts.
Yep, exactly. And I know for a fact that there's some really killer shows coming up in like December and January.
Oh yeah.
Sure. I'm excited for the announcement of those.
It'll be exciting, but yeah, when you got Thanksgiving to contend with, you know, just kind of the way it is. I would assume that Christmas week isn't going to have a ton of shows either. So
no,
the way it is. So
what are you doing for Thanksgiving this year, Eric?
We're going to Marshalltown on Muscatine on Thursday and Marshalltown on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Is your wife from Marshalltown?
Marshalltown, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I'm going to my house on Thursday.
Short trip, huh?
Yep. It's going to be from the bedroom to the kitchen.
Oh, dang. See, now that sounds pretty dang nice to me. I think after the pandemic, it was sort of like, oh man, we have to do all this stuff. We have to be busy at the holidays again. It was kind of like,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, it was kind of nice in its own way. I like seeing family and everything, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of nice in its own way too, to just be like, what do you want to do? I don't know. Like, what are the things you like at Thanksgiving? Oh, the mashed potatoes. Cool. Let's just have mashed potatoes.
Let's just have that.
You know? So
yeah, absolutely. For me, it would be stuffing. That's that's my favorite thing.
Have you ever had the stuffing made with the Hawaiian buns?
No, but that sounds amazing.
Oh man, it's good. They have it at Aldi. You should check it out. This episode's brought to you by Aldi. They make Hawaiian bun stuffing. Wow.
Is it pre-made or do you have to make it like in a package?
Well, it's like, you like, you know, like in a
stove
box.
Top?
Yeah. Like stovetop.
Gotcha.
But the croutons are made with the sweet Hawaiian rolls. So
now see, before when I was married, we would have like 3 or 4 Thanksgivings we'd have to go to.
Yeah.
But the thing is her stepdad, my ex-wife's stepdad, used to make the best stuffing with these raisins.
Oh yeah.
And it was, oh man, I looked forward to like that every year. Like in July, I would remind him to make sure you're making that stuffing at Thanksgiving. Like
nice.
Because it was so good. And so Thanksgiving's a good day of indulgence, you know?
Yeah, it's not bad. You know, it's like, what do you really have to do? Just eat some food, I guess.
Eat some food, talk to people.
Yeah.
Or if you don't talk to people, go find a corner and hide.
Yeah.
Maybe watch some TV.
Yeah. Fall asleep watching a TV.
Fall asleep watching TV. Because I mean, what's the only thing that's ever on Thanksgiving morning is that stupid parade with that stupid turkey.
Okay, I'm gonna try this. I have a platform and I'm gonna use it. God damn it. Listen to this. Okay. This has been years ago. Okay. And my niece and my wife and I are watching the parade on TV.
Right.
And there's a band, or not a band, a group on there singing that this is going to be the best day of my life song. Do you remember that song?
Sure. Well, okay. How does it go?
It was like, this is going to be the best day of my life.
Oh, is that?
It was like a pop song.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I kind of remember it.
Anyway, I started singing, this is going to be the best parade of my life. And I thought it was so funny. And they didn't find it funny at all. Because I guess they've both been in parades and I haven't. So it just seemed really stupid to say that one parade is going to be the best one of your life. Like it happens to you all the time. But no. So if you think that's a funny thing to say, then go ahead and let me know. And I will tell my wife that it is in fact hilarious to sing. It's going to be the best parade of my life.
I mean, I could see that being like a song written by you, Eric. That would be great.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just do that.
Now I have a question about a myth about you that I heard, Eric.
The answer is maybe.
Okay.
No, I don't.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we settled it.
What's the myth?
Okay. So I heard that you wrote a song, and I might have even heard this and it went over my head, where you used the line from that what is it, like coffee commercial in the Folgers, and the best part of waking up. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The song's called Blue Car.
Okay.
It was on a tape I made when I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. That's absolutely true. Not a myth.
I was just wondering because
I'm not proud of it. I mean, it was kind of a cheap move, but you know, when you're 15, you gotta make cheap moves in your songs so that people like them. You know,
I think it's kind of rad. Like I plan on eventually writing a song with that McDonald's jingle, ba-da-ba-ba-ba. So that's gonna happen. So
yeah, they have this one guy who does it, and he sounds super old. He sounds kind of like
I know what you're talking about.
He sounds like I'm trying to think,
like that.
Yeah, he sounds just like Winnie the Pooh, right?
Yeah. Oh man, dude.
Like, why does he do that? And he talks like that too. Hi, come over to McDonald's and get some good food. Like, why do they have that guy? Dude.
Oh my gosh. You should see if you can get hired to be the spokesperson. Come on over to McDonald's and get some food. Get some food.
Actually, it's sort of like Winnie the Pooh mixed with Bane. That's kind of how the voice sounds to me. Like, try our new Big Mac. It's like,
which one?
Why? Why do you have that guy doing that?
You had to bring up Bane too, because I think other than the whole like saga that happened in the comics where he broke Batman's back.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, I think Bane is like the worst character in the Batman universe.
Huh.
I do not like Bane. There's something about Bane I do not like. I'm a Joker guy, man.
Are you talking about Bane in the comic books and stuff, or in that movie?
Well,
or both.
In the movie for sure. I did not like Bane in the movie, but I wasn't a big fan of that Dark Knight Rise. I love the Batman Begins and Dark Knight, but I didn't. Dark Knight Rises, I just wasn't. I did like that one part where he like was blowing up the school buses or whatever, and he just kept like messing up, and he like the button was not like, you know. But yeah, I don't know.
I really liked that Bane. I mean, I don't read the comics and stuff, so I'm not encumbered by caring about, you know, if things are canon and if they follow the rules and stuff. I just kind of like this big giant dude wearing like a Candyman pimp coat.
Yeah.
And just talking like that for no reason, like, hey, Batman, I'm going to blow up this football field. Do you think I'm really scary with this voice?
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not a scary voice, dude, at all. What are you doing?
That's, you know, that's also one criticism I had with those Batman movies too, is Batman himself had a ridiculous voice.
Yes.
Why? No. I don't know. I wasn't.
It's just like, yeah, Batman, I'm gonna totally blow up all this stuff. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't. Exactly. Like, I don't know. Call me old fashioned, but I still like all of the old Adam West Batmans where all the villains work together on a boat with all of these like neon colored gadgets that would like shoot a laser like out and shrink Batman and Robin. Then you'd hear like the cackling from the Green Penguin. I love the colorful Batman. I love the colorful absurdity of like the Adam West era Batman and even the comics then. But I also really think that the Tim Burton Batman movies, Batman and Batman Returns, were just fantastic.
So was it Batman Forever with Jim Carrey?
Yeah, that was
that was a really bright one.
That was bright. And I will say, I do think that Jim Carrey did a good job of the Riddler in that movie. I just don't think that movie was really that great, but nothing could prepare us. Yeah, the Tim Burton ones are great, but nothing could prepare us for the adventures of Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. And that was also the George Clooney
Speaking of
Batman.
Terrifying villain voices.
Yeah. I've come to freeze you. Oh man, we said it in unison almost, Eric.
Oh wow.
Wouldn't that be great?
Frozen in time.
If he got elected as an actual public official, if that's like what he threatened to do with like people he didn't like, if he would just freeze them.
Well, he was like the governor, right?
Yeah, governor. Yeah. Yep. What's he?
He could have froze some fools.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor. Oh yeah, that really did happen, didn't it? You could have froze some fools.
Goddamn reality. It's getting so weird.
It really is. Froze some fools. I like that.
Oh man. Yeah. There you go.
So I think that what we should do is that intro music.
Yeah.
I think the next episode, when we come in and we start talking, we should do the McDonald's
that old guy one.
Yeah. Like, let's plan on that for the next episode. Does that sound good, everybody?
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I think we have mentioned McDonald's now a few times. So
we really have.
Feel free to send me one of those nasty ass fillet of fish sometime.
Yeah, that I mean, it's so weird because I do agree that it's nasty, but I used to find them very satisfying at the same time.
I just don't understand the piece of cheese. I just don't know where it came from. I don't either. I've never seen it on another fish sandwich. I've never just had a big piece of American cheese.
What's really weird about it is that I didn't mind the piece of cheese on the fillet of fish,
right?
But every other sandwich, every other, if I went to Arby's and got a piece of cheese on my fish sandwich, I would flip. you know?
Wait, they have
But-
fish at Arby's?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Shit.
But it's only seasonal. It's like one of those weird
Oh.
things where they only have it like when, I don't know, it's safe to fish in Alaska or something.
Oh man. All right.
Because I mean, that's
Well,
that's what they show on the commercials. They always show like Alaskan ice fishing, like the freshest fish you can get ever exported from Alaska.
the freshest, most delicious fish ever, and then dropped in a deep fat fryer.
Down to the deep fat
We
fryer.
needed to make everything taste like curly fries.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, but I will say though, the top fried tier of like fried fish, I still used to love Long John Silver's.
Oh yeah, I like the Long Johns.
Used to love that shit.
Yeah. Yep. Good
But
stuff.
all right, ladies and gentlemen. You guys all have a great week and Thanksgiving. I'm
Yeah.
loving it.
Yeah. I hope you're loving Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Tell us your Thanksgiving stories.
Yeah. Yeah. You should go ahead and do that. We'll
And if anyone
and
knows
we'll
what,
present them as like in the same format as Alice's restaurant.
there you go. Exactly.
We'll just tell your story. And then my uncle said, "Hey, you're a goddamn commie."
If anyone knows also why, like the mystery of the cheese on the fillet of fish,
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah. I'm very interested. It's like
Absolutely.
a cryptozoology at this point.
It is. We got to examine every
It's like
aspect of it,
Bigfoot,
folks.
the cheese fish.
The cheese fish.
Oh.
The Arnold Schwarzenegger as the governor.
Yeah. The
All right.
governator.
The governor.
Let's go. This is stupid.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. I need everyone to be very nice to me and like me very much.